there, friends. Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library. And Zephyr and I are here today to talk to you about a book that we think you're really going to enjoy. So this is a book by an author that is pretty popular. She's really well known. It's her newer book that came out. I think it came out last year or so, maybe even the year before. And she is a pretty famous, well-known author. I haven't read all of her works, but I've read quite a few of them, and everything I've read by her so far, I really enjoyed, including the one I'm going to be talking about today. One of the things I really enjoy about this particular author is that most of the time I know some of her books are different, but for the most part, she writes this really awesome blend between historical fiction and mystery, which is just super fantastic. And of course, everything's always just really so well written. So what is this author? Which book am I talking about? It is called Kate Morton, and it's called Homecoming. Kate Morton. Now, Kate Morton has written, like I said, quite a few other books. Let's see, Clockmaker's Daughter, The Lake House, The Secret Keeper, books like that. I've read quite a few of them. I don't believe I've read all of them yet, but I really love her stories and just sinking into them because there's so much depth there. So they're not just a cheap thriller. It's not just a cheap mystery to keep you on the edge of your seat. It's a deep story with a heart to it and a mystery that will keep you guessing and turning the pages with characters that are really well written, beautifully flawed. They make you just really believe like you know these people in real life. So what is this book in particular about, Homecoming? So this book takes place, it has two points of view. The first one is in the late 50s, like 1959, I believe, and it takes place in South Australia. So this whole book takes place in Australia, and it is about this shocking event that happens to this little town in Australia, where basically a mother and her children, 3 children, are found dead in their lawn on New Year's Eve. So they're having a picnic outside, beautiful day, and one of their neighbors comes by, finds them there, and finds that they are just all dead. Now, there's a little bit of a mystery to this too, because their mother and her children are dead, but there's also a basket because she had recently had a baby, but the baby is missing, and nobody can actually find this baby. So nobody can figure out what happened. Some people believe that she killed herself. Other people believe that she was murdered and her whole family was murdered. And it is basically this horrible crime that has shocked this small town for decades. The father and, the wife, the husband of the woman who died, his whole family's gone. He ends up moving to London. He doesn't come back. He doesn't want anything to do with, this beautiful house, this beautiful property anymore, because it is a beautiful property. And the book takes a lot of time describing this area and how sweet and beautiful it is, and the town and the townspeople. It's absolutely incredible. But after this event, people are, thinking about it a little differently, this family that has suffered this tragic event. So that is taking place in the 50s, with them trying to find out what happened, trying to track down this baby. What happened to this baby? Was the baby taken, kidnapped? Was the baby killed and hidden somewhere? What have you. So they're trying to also find out what's going on with that. So that's what's going on there. Now you have a present day, or close to present day. I want to say it's like maybe 2019, 2020. And we're now focusing on our main character, whose name is Jess, who was raised by her grandmother Nora because her mother was unable to raise her just because of a variety of mental conditions. Her grandmother has raised her in Australia, but she has grown up. She's living in London now, doing her thing. She finds out that her grandmother is ill, so she comes back. Her grandmother has suffered a fall and she's ill, so she comes back to take care of her. Well, while she's doing that, Jess discovers this book called The Turner Family Tragedy that she's never heard of before, and it's about the tragedy that happened in the 50s. But as she's reading this and finding out more about this, she's realizing that what happened back then is connected to her family in ways that she could have never imagined possible. So now she's trying to get information from her aunt, or from her grandmother, who doesn't want to talk about it. She's very ill. She got hurt, and try to uncover what happened to her family and how it's connected to this tragic case. Because her grandmother never talked about it before, never wanted to talk about her family or extended family or anything like that. So Jess is now totally in the dark trying to figure out this mystery, while we also are in the past trying to figure out the mystery as well. So you've got both of these points of view, which are really, really interesting and fascinating, the way that they connect, and, you know, the different characters. You try to figure out what is going on. I thought I had an idea of what happened, number one, and number two, what connection there is between this family and Jess and her grandmother Nora, but I was, of course, completely wrong. If you've watched my videos before, you know I am ridiculously, completely oblivious when it comes to twists and stuff like that. So I did not see what was coming. But it's not the kind of twist like in a thriller where you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like, it's just more of a deep mystery that is unfolding slowly. It's just such a beautifully written book. If you have not read anything by Kate Morton before, this is a great one to start with. If you are a fan of her and you have had her works before, I think this is another one that you will really, really enjoy. Homecoming by Kate Morton. Well, that's what we've got for you guys today. I hope that this book sounds really interesting and that you're going to want to check it out. If so, we do have it at Farmington Community Library, so feel free to come get it there. And also, thank you so very much for watching, friends, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.